On the undergraduate programme, we're not a training degree. So we don't kind of say, okay, here you are on day one, you're going to train to be a journalist, you're going to train to be a filmmaker, you're going to train to be a PR professional. It doesn't work like that because it's not 1955. You can't train someone to do shorthand and then go into a kind of junior, freelancer job at a newspaper and then become the editor. The world's not like that anymore. It's post-structural, it's de-centred. So that kind of steer away from training, I think, is a real strength in terms of undergraduate provision, really, on the degrees and what that means and how that will equip students, not just for postgraduate study, but professional development and participation within the professions within the real world post-graduation. So that's one thing. So a steer away from kind of conventional training degrees. And I honestly think the major strength of the degree at Newcastle, and again, without becoming too kind of, egotistical, but why we sort of top league tables, why we often get brilliant NSS, National Student Survey feedback, and we're on par with, I hesitate to say the word competitors, but we're on par with other universities with similar degree programmes like ours, Cardiff, Warwick, Goldsmiths, is that we've got a fantastic mix, and I don't think it's 50-50 because it's different for each student, but a brilliant kind of, if you like, mix of theory and practice. So theory informs practice and practice informs theory. And again, sometimes, I'm a cultural theorist by trade, if you will. I'm not a practitioner. But certainly I learn a huge amount from colleagues who are practitioners. And I'd like to think that they learn something from me, So if you're going to make a film, or if you're going to create an event, or you're going to write a piece of, critical journalism, theoretically it's embedded in something. And I think students who understand that, for instance, Michel Foucault's theory of surveillance or Judith Butler's theory of performativity can in some way influence a documentary film or a news report or a PR campaign. That's really something.
What sort of part-time work can students get while studying that would add to their CVs for future media, culture or heritage employers? I
think that nowadays, and since I've been, within this sort of role, this job, this is my actual 12th year of kind of being an academic at this institution in some sort of way. The expanse or the diversification of what media and culture, and to an extent heritage, actually mean is so broad now, particularly with social media, particularly with things like, for instance, entrepreneurialism, i.e. students kind of kickstarting their own online businesses or their own blogs or their own YouTube channels and making money from them. That's a fantastic thing. Media does not just belong, and we know this, but again, externally beyond the department and in the big wide world, people think media is still Facebook, the BBC and, MTV. It's not. So I would argue that any institution, any business, whether it's a tiny business with 4 people or if it's the NHS, have media departments, have a need for media professionals, whoever they may be, whether that's a copywriter, a filmmaker, a researcher, whatever it is. Media seems to be, very, very much so, almost kind of ascending to being one of the kind of key major players within the kind of job market, not just in the UK, but globally. So every single business, every single sort of institution somehow has opportunity for media students. I think sometimes media students and media lecturers almost kind of restrict themselves and they think, I've got to become a runner on the X Factor. I've got to work, for a social media startup firm, or I've got to work in PR. Sure, that's fine. But looking just a bit beyond the kind of obvious, I think, and we've got a really brilliant now kind of developmental relationship with the careers service is really, really crucial. I think it's key.